No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the...
Okay, so right now, the question is, what is the purpose of the United Nations? And what even led to the establishment of the United Nations? Because Kamia Kwe said, the purpose, they created the United Nations, even actually, they created an aspect, they established the United Nations to bring countries together and also work on issues that is affecting peace, security, and human well-being. But Kamia said the United Nations is rather running away from that and doing other things. Some leaders, in other countries are calling out, are even threatening to boycott the United Nations because Kamia is Abusia and come on, authentic right to make sure. Share. I'm a so Ashe. And the United Nations, the purpose of the United Nations is to bring countries together to work on global issues that affect peace, security, human well-being. It was founded in 1945 after the World War II. But yes, the United Nations was created and was established after the World War II to prevent a future war. And the purpose of the United Nations, and it say, maintain international peace and security, promote friendly relationship among nations, protect human rights, deliver humanitarian aid, and support sustainable development. But I said the United Nations now can say Bianca. These are some of the reasons why they are still existent. They are doing different things. And United Nations meeting. I'm just say Amaya who draw so penny for baby by Donald Trump of the United USA. President John Dramani Mahama Suko PM1. Kenya President President Ruto Williams Eko PM1. South Africa President so Gabon President Zambia Africa Hanum there. Most of the presidents omuko pie mu no match say omukọ kekanse. Now in fact Donald Trump any nipa okasa afa. Donald Trump any akwenya say onu so kwakasa na obi say. So what is the purpose of the United Nations? Because I believe say the United Nations was established to bring peace among countries. But Kamia said the United Nations no and tokwa ekoso ewo Africa and other countries no omu pa na emu omu because Donald Trump eka say oba as president wetimi asolve 7 conflicts in 7 countries. But even Komponan Kofi say the United Nations during the negotiation time na Kofi say the United Nations compo at the almost support about the energy. But now and it is very bad. It is very bad for Africa especially.
No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. Just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all.
Yes, it's Donald Trump. In fact, not Donald Trump. Why so disappointed in the United Nations? Amateurs was such a company said the escalator company pay one for company sebe. Omudu bedu company on any yere ekamu se nyese bia na yere ne ho ye dia anka e bia kan yere prai. But Nyakopa do mutifie etimi si na afi company so teleprompter na atese wona omu read from it no eno so enye adwuma. Ne nyinaa ya ade anka wo say the United Nations omo hwe na ka omu sisi but omo nye hwe abusia okasa wie ye no ena His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, and so eko kasa. In fact okasa bebre na oschiremu kwampo eka say the future of the world is Africa. The future of the world no, is Africa. Now, a time will come, the world will be depending on Africa. So it is about time I was say, African countries are back together. Now, I'm pushing one agenda. And Africa composition, the United Nations come up with so many. I'm Africa especially. Now, ban say be a teacher or more allocated siga component. Africa to me less.
The tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out.
President Mahama so kasa wie ye no and I just say Kenyan president President William Ruto and so enya Kenya no so to ya say the purpose of the UN and as be the United Nations no, was not to save people and as be to take people to heaven, but nemo to save people from hell. But come up say the United Nations no omo yomani say ban say be omo copies keeping component sika ke wo so omo allocated to the omo army no less omo timi nya be say 47% of it e ban say so na enka hwe enti ono de say if say the United Nations omo ahwehwe omo nyema yi a already no omo ti African Union the African Union no ni omo ba ba ni say bia a time will come the African Union be create one currency e dey Africa, and also the Central Bank of Africa no, they will take in charge of the economy. It is if say be the United Nations or man share antutu omu nyema yi a obeli di delegations say na be ya omu be boycott the United Nations ban so na the United Nations so there.
The United Nations was not created to take humanity to heaven, but to save it from hell. End of quote. That mission is as urgent today as it was 8 decades ago. The Africa Union is championing 3 transformative institutions. The Africa Central Bank, which will issue a single currency and free our trade from dependence on foreign money. The Africa Monetary Fund, positioned to stabilize our economies and give us true financial sovereignty. And the Africa Investment Bank, designed to mobilize resources for infrastructure, industrialization, and integration that Africa needs to rise. And to complete this vision, the Africa Credit Rating Agency, one that understands our realities, values our uniqueness, and tells our story with fairness and truth, has already been established. Excellencies, during the IMF's recent allocation of special drawing rights, 64% went to wealthy nations. Just imagine, 64%. With little need for liquidity support. They didn't need the money anyway, but they got 64%. While the poorer countries received just 2.4%. What a disconnect. The imbalance highlights how the very institutions meant to safeguard global finance stability often perpetuate inequality and instability. I have argued, and I say it again, that the current global financial architecture punishes poor countries with high interest rates and enormous conditionalities, while rewarding rich nations with lower interest rates and softer lending rates. Its rules, priorities, and allocation mechanisms consistently favor those already prosperous, while trapping vulnerable economies in cycles of debt, high borrowing costs, and inadequate access to emergency support and concessional funding. It is imperative to transform this institution. We are gathered for the UN at 80. The question is unavoidable. Is the United Nations relevant to the demands of our time? Can it continue to serve humanity in the face of current realities? Or has it become a relic of a bygone era? Madam President.
In fact, most of the Kasem Kampo, Ochiemu, Ekase, acquire United Nations for the African countries, because in some of the speech, Ochiemu said, say, Bani say, say, Omo allocate sika. The African countries such as Omoya Party, so Munye Sikamon, Omutimi Lokiti, I say 2.4% of the financial allocation at the moment. No more the best 70% of it at the account the wealthy countries or more musica dada. A banasana, ACC, disconnects into a bear. Then, United Nations, almost sorry waka, no more near was it, Omoye, and yes, our party are. The United Nations and the Abanasana, there is nowhere a mobile meeting here at the United Nations about organizing. Abusia, wait me a review comment or comment section. What do you think about this particular story? Authentic press. Make sure like the best as to be around.